Okay, the first tip I'm going to scroll saw. This is a DeWalt scroll saw. Many people have the DeWalt scroll saw. I of course have one. After you get your saw out of the box, this would be the first tip I would look for. If you would get a straight edge that you trust to be straight, you don't use a 2x4, don't use a piece of wood cutoff, but get a straight edge that you know you can trust. I am going to use this ruler by Incra. They're a precision company. I trust their products very well. Okay, if you lay your ruler across the tabletop where the blade entry hole is, make sure that the table is completely flat. On some models, there will be a slight dip in the tabletop in this area due to the manufacturing process. Get a straight edge, go along, look down here, make sure it's a completely flat edge. That's one of the best tips you could have when you're new to scroll sawing. That's it for this tip. I'll come back and give you another tip in just a second. Okay, this next step is also very important, setting up your scroll saw. Many times when you first unpack your saw, part of the tune-up will be fixing or adjusting the set screws and the thumb tightening knob that is on the scroll saw. Pretending this is your blade on the scroll saw, a handy dandy paint stick, but pretending this is your scroll saw blade. Often when you take the saw out of the box and put in a blade, the saw will travel up and down in this motion. What we will have to do is readjust the set screws on the top and bottom. If it's sliding this way, we will need to back this set screw out and tighten this one in, and possibly the opposite way for the bottom, just enough where the saw blade is going to be traveling at an exact up and down motion, such as this. Okay, to change the set screws, I will show you. Okay, this is the blade holder on the DeWalt 788. Many of you have this saw, many of you don't, but a lot of the same principles will be involved in each saw. Okay, we have on this side, which would be a set screw, and on this side is the thumb tightening screw to hold the blade in place. Like I was saying earlier, if your blade is traveling in this motion, these set screws, there's a set just like this on the bottom, but the set screws are going to be off. We need to adjust all 4 screws, or 2 set screws and 2 thumb screws, to where the blade is going to be going at a perfect up and down motion instead of like this. Okay, the way to do that, I'm going to release the tension on this blade. Let's loosen this blade holder knob and get your Allen wrench. If you're not familiar with Allen wrenches, it's the kind of 6-sided wrench that fits into these hex screws, or Allen screws, whichever you prefer. Okay, slightly twist to the right, put this wrench in, turn to the right or turn to the left, whichever way you think the screw needs to be turned. If you screw it this way, it's going to move the top blade to the right. If you move it counterclockwise, it's going to move the blade to this direction. So give that a shot, adjust your screw, put the blade back in, tighten it up, and see how it runs. You might have to do that a couple times, but you'll get the hang of it. It's a pretty easy process. Okay, that's it for this tip on scroll saw video.